everybody for joining us today on APPPAH Live, Exploring Birth Psychology. Today is Monday, September 4th of 2023. It's Labor Day here in the United States. And so I am just so excited that we're all tuning in. We were a little worried that we wouldn't have some folks on because maybe you're out enjoying your day, your Labor Day somewhere else, but we're so glad that you're here enjoying it with us. My name is Wendy Bruns. I'm APPPAH's Outreach and Communications Director. APPPAH Live is our weekly webinar series where we bring you experts and pioneers in the field of pre- and perinatal psychology to help inform and inspire in expanding awareness of conscious babies. This program is free and open to everyone who joins us live on Mondays at noon Eastern. And the recordings of all of our APPPAH Lives are available as a membership benefit to our APPPAH Premier members. If you're interested in exploring our memberships, we're going to go ahead and drop a link into the chat along with my contact information. If you have any questions about anything membership related or APPPAH related, we're always here to answer any questions that you might have. There is so much going on in the world of APPPAH that I really want to share with you before we get started with today's presentation. We have some incredible upcoming courses. The first is from Isa Gucciardi. It starts this month, September 23rd. It's called Tracking Spirit in the Birth Environment. And students who take this class are going to learn how to connect inside themselves and really embrace this profound transformative power that we have that's present at birth, and really, learn how to help folks and just track through that spirit that's coming through that we all know to be there. It looks like we dropped that link into the chat, so go ahead. APPPAH Premier members do get an additional discount off of this course and any other courses that we're going to drop in. If you were here last week and caught last week's APPPAH Live with Carlton Terry, you learned a little bit about some of our upcoming courses that are being taught by Carlton. We have his birth mask reveal trainings 1 and 2, along with a really exciting new series that we're calling Ask KT, exploring the psychological imprints of the birth journey. And that's a year-long course where we're going to be delving into 12 different topics, one per month. And I'm going to share just a couple of them here. We'll be going over the 4 stages of birth, C-section, twin loss, IVF, and just a ton more. It looks like that got put in there too. So I really encourage folks to click on that and kind of see what's going on with that course. It's really designed to have really pivotal conversations. We want to keep them really dialogue friendly with all of us on the call around the importance of birth psychology. And just one more thing that I really want to touch on here, since we're getting into, the tail end of our year, is our APPPAH Congress, where we're going to be exploring the science of nurture. I know I share a little bit about it every week, but it's such a big culmination of everything that we do here at APPPAH. We have opportunities to join us virtually if you're not able to come live, and you're able to catch presentations of the comfort in your own home. But we're meeting in person in Denver, Colorado, October 19th through the 22nd. There is going to be so much going on there. I can't even speak it out. We're having keynote presentations from Scotty Burns, Dr. Greer Kirschenbaum, Dr. Gerlinda Metz, and Dr. Dorothy Mandel. Tons of networking opportunities. We're having concurrent sessions, poster presentations, just so much going on. And it looks like that is getting put into the chat as well to explore different registration options. And we're actually extending our early bird discount. It might be ending soon, so go ahead and take advantage of that. And while you bookmark those links, and we kind of turn over into why we're all here today, settling in for a presentation on Dreambirth imagery by one of my new very good friends, Dr. Claudia Raiken. Claudia is the senior teacher at the School of Images, where she runs their Dreambirth program and is the global head of Dreambirth. In that capacity, Claudia has trained professionals worldwide and works with countless women and couples from every continent. She's a world expert at facilitating communication between parents and the baby in the womb, or with those souls who are planning to come, who might not be conceived yet, and even those who were miscarried. In these conversations, they are leading to the writings of Messages from the Womb, which is going to be published in 2024. Claudia is a childbirth educator, a birth doula, an Alexander technique teacher, and a biodynamic craniosacral practitioner. She holds a master's from NYU in kinesiology and dance, and she's assisted in over 300 births in that time. We will have time for Q&A at the end of this presentation, so please write your questions into the chat, and let's welcome Claudia to APPAH Live. Claudia, we're so excited to learn from you today.
Okay, and you are a perfect audience because I don't have to convince anyone that there's consciousness in the womb and before, so we can just go straight on. Do I do the share now with the screen?
If you're ready to.
I'm ready to.
Then yes, ma'am.
Okay, so hold on. How do I do this? I think this, share?
Yeah,
I think it's good. All right. Now I can't see everyone's faces, but we'll make do. I'm going to go a little bit faster than I've practiced it so that we have time to do the exercises, some exercises, because it's in experiencing the dream birth exercises that the power and the magic happens. Okay, we don't have to go through these slides because Wendy beautifully introduced me. So we're going to go right off. I'm most excited I am about that my book Messages from the Womb will be published because it's been a long journey writing it and finding a publisher. So I'm very, very happy. It will be published by IML Publications. Okay, this is a presentation overview, which we can also go over quickly because we're just going to do it. But you will hear a short description of what is dream birth, how it was developed, and what I've seen it do. Okay, because that's sort of will be interesting to all. Okay, short description of dream birth. Dream birth is a series of over 500 short imagery exercises. So they're fun to do. They leave room for your own images, which is one of the things that makes it so helpful. Imagery can also be just how you feel, even sound. So it's all of our senses. It allows for communication between the baby, the subconscious, your superconscious, and I'll tell you something interesting. I was talking once to a baby who was a miscarried baby, who then said to his mother, "Stop mourning over me. I'm now your guide." And when I asked something about imagery, this is what he answered. "Oh, imagery is the language of the universe." So here we go. I like that answer, right? Okay. All right. I'm just going to touch what I've seen it do because I've seen it do so much. So before conception, or rather during the conception and before conception, with dream birth, you can get advice from the baby because you can communicate to the soul and it will tell you, spend more time with my father, have more fun, be patient, keep doing what you're doing. I've heard the baby say many things, and that helps, right? Then we have exercises that really do affect your physicality. So we have exercises to improve the quality, and I think sometimes the quantity of eggs. I know you're not supposed to be able to change the quantity, but there's room for doubt there. We have exercises to increase passion and libido. And sometimes that very exercise helps attract partners, if that is what is needed. Okay. During pregnancy and birth, so much that I have seen it do. Most important, besides talking to the baby, is getting the baby in the right position. So we have an exercise for that, right? Exercise to help turn a baby if it's gotten a little bit funky or is frankly breech. We can untangle, I've seen it untangle cords, stop premature birth, many. Actually, it's very effective exercise. Exercises to help start labor, keep it going, to minimize and many times prevent tears. Okie dokie. Before this exercise was created, especially with the first birth, there was tears. It was pretty normal. After this exercise was created and I started to use it really quite religiously, a lot better outcome. A lot of no tears with first-time births, or very, very few tears. So the exercises can be very practical, right? It can improve relationships. It can minimize the effects of medication. And that's important. Sometimes someone comes to me and says, I won't use a doula, but I know I'm going to want an epidural. So I know that we can make the medication be less harmful. I used it when I had cancer and had all that, all the medication, and it really made it much better. Okay, you can rewrite negative programming is one way to call it, but ideas that are really not correct about your life, everything in my life goes wrong. All middle children in my family never can get pregnant. All sorts of stories that have come into our cells, right? One of the most useful thing, I think, is that it helps bring out the best in everyone at the birth. Truly does. All right. Whether it's a midwife, whether it's an OB, whether it's an operation, whether it's a home birth. Okay. How Dreambirth was born is important because it got tested a lot. All right. In my doula training, I heard that imagery would help. I was fascinated. I was also starting to use it in my Alexander technique work, but there was nothing. A teeny little book by Jones, Mind Over Labor. I even forget the name. Oh, I should have gotten it. And actually at a craniosacral workshop, one of the assistants, Elizabeth Poole, who's here, told me that I might be interested in the School of Images. And my mind goes, what? How did you know I wanted to learn about imagery? So that is really how I got to Catherine Shainberg, who, by the way, Catherine Shainberg, can you see this? Is the one who wrote the book Dreambirth. So all the exercises I teach in the training, actually, I use a lot more exercises because Catherine couldn't put in all the exercises that got created in the book. So I asked her if she could teach me imagery for pregnancy and childhood. She says, of course, I can teach imagery for everything. We started by myself, and then she kind of intimated that she would be better if I could organize a group. Miraculously, I had just been invited to join two doulas as their third backup, but and they loved the idea of imagery. And one of the doulas had been an OB nurse at a big hospital, so she was able to get people, and then there were other people from Catherine's work, like Elizabeth that joined. Okay, so we worked for 7 years. Every Wednesday, except for the summers, Wednesdays 12 to 1:30. And we would bring in problems that we were experiencing, and Catherine also had just all her own input. But we would try out the exercises right away. At least I did. And I would go, wait a minute, this happened, this was good, but this wasn't. So some of the exercises were tweaked by what we found. So the exercises are really quite tested. Inadvertently, not scientifically, but they are, because for 7 years we used them and we give Catherine feedback. Okay. Why is it so effective? Okay. The Dreambirth exercises, they belong to a 500-year-old tradition that is now being called sapphire imagery. The exercises are very short. They do give room for your own images, and they use poetic language, which takes you to a different, takes you out of your logical brain. I have one exercise so that I can give you an example of the language that I mean. Okay, we're not going to do this exercise, although it's a great exercise, which is to catch voices in a spiral box. All those voices we have, you're not good enough. Oh no, you're truly bad. Oh, you're lazy. Nah, you can't do it. All those voices that we don't really want. So in any case, exercise has you catch them, put them in a box. But this is the line I want to read you. When you capture the voice, take that box with you across the land and now walk all the way towards the edge of the world. When you come to the very end of the world, the edge of the world, okay, that's all I'm going to read. Edge of the world, end of the world. Your mind just kind of goes someplace else. So it does get your, I guess, your right brain and left brain to start to work together. One of the reasons we ask a person, what did you see? What did you do? I mean, how did you feel? Is because it starts to get a person to pay attention to their inside voice, whether it's just feeling tones or whether it's images. And it makes you a lot smarter when you can use both parts of your brain. And even more so because, let's see, good. For simplicity's sake, right? There's 3 levels of consciousness. The conscious, which is what we're using now. The subconscious, a gigantic cauldron that you're usually not aware of, that holds all your experiences, and probably not just from this life, but probably from other lifetimes, and even experiences from those close to you. Go right in. And then the superconscious, that's sometimes people in APPPAH world call it the blueprint, right? We have a part of us that knows, that is wise, that knows the real truth. We just all have it in us. And the exercises, well, let's continue. Different types of Dreambirth exercises. One is what everyone knows the most, visualization. It's imagery where you tell a little bit of a story. It's used in meditations worldwide. It's used by athletes. It was a lot in the 80s, they developed using it. In Dreambirth, it's used for anything physical, or although it can be used for something else, but especially to get the position of the baby, to get your ovaries to be shiny. It's definitely used. Then there's a different technique, right? It can be called, in regular sapphire, it can be called jolt, where you're just like, what? What happened? Gentle jolt is what's used in Dreambirth, because if you're working with pregnant women or women wanting to get pregnant, they're in a vulnerable state. So everything is gentle, right? You tone down what you might use in other types of situations. So the best way I can sort of describe it is when you juxtapose reality with non-reality. It does get you quickly sort of into awake dream time. And it's hypnosis does it, but it takes a long time. This happens 3, 2, 1, boom. There you are in a different place. And that is what I think makes it so valuable. Okay. And it's also in that place that it becomes easier to talk to a child in the womb. You can talk, but what's wonderful is when you can hear the responses, whether it's in images, in words, in telepathic messages. That's what you're developing in a person, that ability to mind their inner knowing and to communicate across dimensions. Okay, I should check the time, but we'll go on. Most of the exercises I'm looking for I don't want to talk too much. I want to give exercises. Ooh, I think we'll be okay. Okay, most of the exercises use a combo of both. So you get the benefits of both. This is important. Tikkun, repair. One of the things that this practice does and believes in is that you can repair what you see in the imagery that is disturbing to you. I'll give a real live example. I had someone who had done a million IVFs after having tried naturally. And we did the garden exercise, which I will do with all of us. And her garden was dead grass, nothing else. She freaked out. Of course, it's a bit of a picture of how she feels, right? That I'm only dead grass, nothing can grow in me. So I said, oh, no, not to worry. In imagery, you can repair, you can change. So very luckily, and it actually speaks of who she was, we brought in the rains, and all of a sudden her garden was magnificent. I mean, I didn't expect it to change so quickly, but it did. She had like a tropical garden, and I went, okay, we're good to go. And so one of the reasons in this work, I'll do one exercise that you don't need to tell me how you felt, because it's really just visualization. But in the garden, I will ask a few of you, I hope we have brave souls who will raise your hands, who will tell us what was your garden like, what did you hear, blah, 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 because it helps everybody, and it will show you how you can harness all the parts of your being in a way that helps. You'll start to hear your inner voice. Okay. All right. Stories. What have I heard babies say? I'm not going to tell you the best stories. Oh, no, I have even more best stories, but I don't want to tell you things from the book. Before conception, because this just happened 2 weeks ago. A woman came to me because a friend of hers said, oh, go see Claudia. Whatever she does in imagery really, really helps. It's a woman who, again, like the one I just told you, had many IVFs, unsuccessful. And she had 2 embryos left frozen. She knew were girls. And so I go, okay, let's just do this work. I had her do the garden exercise, which we will do soon. And I asked her to invite the soul of the baby that's planning to come. She freaks out. No, I can't see. I can't feel anything. No. I can't. I go, okay, no problem. It's okay. Just ask the soul. She's already there because you've invited her. Ask her if there's anything else she would like in the garden that isn't there. Much to the woman's shock or jolt, the soul showed her an orange ball. And so I said, okay, put in the orange ball. And then all of a sudden she hears the soul say to her, I love you. I love you very much, which of course, you know, who doesn't feel good when the soul says that to you? And then I had her ask the soul if there's any message the soul wanted to give her brother or the father. And she did have a message that she wants to play ball with both her brother and her father. So that was really it. Very short little messages, but it made a big transformation for her. I'm only going to give 2 more little examples so we can get on to, I think next we do the exercises, okay? A woman who's pregnant, she only saw me 2 times, learned all the exercises that are really wonderful to prepare for the birth. And she actually had a really good birth, which doesn't always happen, even with the exercises, but she had a glorious birth. And her baby said to her, what did she say to her? She said to her, we are together. The baby tells the mother, take your time. Don't worry, we are together. And then we asked the baby if the baby had a message for the father. And the baby said, yes, when I'm born, I want him to hold my little face and kiss me and kiss me and kiss me. So anyway, to my woman, this one is in the book, and I can say her name because she volunteered to use her real name, Julia, had a miscarriage. She'd already seen me for the birth of her first son. Lawyer, crying, Claudia, they can't hear the heartbeat. Claudia, they can't hear the heartbeat. So I invite her in to the office when I used to have an office with a massage table, and I used to give craniosacral sessions and imagery. So she comes in and I ask her, does she want to do the exercise where you can connect with a child that she miscarried? She says yes. And if the mother says no, we don't go there. You do what the mother feels comfortable with. So anyway, she did feel comfortable, and I have my hands, on her cranium, and grin all of a sudden from ear to ear, room from one wall to the other. Claudia, she's here, she's telling me she's here. I can feel her. Oh, Claudia, she says she's coming. Okay, we didn't even need to ask her, are you going to come? But it took a long time. And her being a lawyer and going very much into mental and doubt, we'd have to do the exercise again every time she would come to the office. And the baby would say, Mommy, you need patience. And I want you to go into the river. She had a little river in the garden. I want you to go into the river and wash your doubts away. Waiting is good for you, Mommy. Okay, here's a little secret. She was born pretty much when she would have had her birthday, if she had continued right when she got miscarried. And this is quite common. But this is what's really interesting is when we have an exercise to clean the womb after a miscarriage. And right after cleaning her womb, Julia would see a cherry blossom. She would say, Claudia, why do I have a cherry blossom in there? And I had no idea why she had a cherry blossom, but it didn't feel like you had to do a tikkun because the cherry blossom felt good. It was pretty. So we left it alone. Lo and behold, the little girl, because she was a girl, and that's clearly she would see her. And she says she looks just like she saw her But she got pregnant when the cherry blossoms were in bloom. I had no idea that we were being told that's when it would happen, but obviously the baby was already telling us that. Okay. I hope we have not shot. I think we'll be okay. All right. Now, verification. I've got to do this very quickly. A mother, when she asked her child what she wanted in the womb, anything that wasn't there, the baby said pebbles. This was about 11 years ago. And I go, pebbles, pebbles. Okay, put pebbles in. But 5 months ago, she contacted me and I remembered what the baby had said. And so I asked, does your child, is he into pebbles? This is what she sent me. She says they can't go anywhere without having bags. He is obsessed with pebbles. He arranges them. He changes the arrangement. So I don't know what this child will do when he grows up, but definitely starting in the womb, he very clearly said what he wanted. I now really pay attention to what the babies say they want in the womb. Just work with someone, baby was born already, who showed her a rainbow and told the mother, I want to paint. So, you know, sometimes they really do tell you. Okay, I think now it's time for the exercises. And I think we'll have time. Okay, here we go. I can't see everyone's faces, but I think I will have to live with that.
Claudia, do you want to unshare your screen so you can see everyone's faces and then pull your PowerPoint back up?
Oh, can I do that?
Yes, absolutely. There's something at the top. It should say stop share or
stop share, and then I can go right back to share?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Good, because it helps me to see everyone's faces. It helps me to see if people are going, oh no, this is stupid, you know, then I'll change what I'm saying. But anyway, good. I'm so glad to see many faces. Oh, Marina's there. Cool. Okay, I have a few students that are working with me now. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. And all right. I'm going to just take one more peek. Oh, okay. I like this screen because everyone has their picture up. Okay, so here we go. First exercise is of the visualization variety. And it's really an exercise that can be used by any human being that's going to have a procedure, an operation, or even a home birth. I tweak it for a home birth. But it's, let's just do it and you'll see why it's valuable, but I won't have to, it's a visualization, so you don't necessarily have to say what you saw. Okay, everyone. So the way this works is when you're pregnant, I don't care if you're lying down, if you're walking, but right now, close your eyes. Uncross your legs and arms, and you're going to focus on the out breath. So close your eyes and breathe out slowly 3 times, counting from 3 to 1, seeing the numbers. You're going to reach your arm out the window, up towards the sun. Catch a bouquet of sun rays. Use one of the rays to wrap it around yourself from your feet to your head. See yourself in a cocoon of light. Breathe out. And now reaching for another ray of light, throw it around the walls and the floor of your room, seeing the room turn to light. And now, see the rays form tents of light, like Arabian tents of light, like the old circus types. See one tent encompassing the whole room, one encompassing the bed and one encompassing you. Breathe out. See the remaining rays form a shower of light at the door, so that all that enter gets showered with light and transformed to light. All they touch turns to light. Your body, any tools, any medication, all they do is done perfectly, guided by the light. Breathe out and open your eyes. Okay. This is, I did this exercise for a couple, and the man of all people said to me, "Could I use that at my office?" I thought, yes, turn everyone to light, go. All right, maybe I will ask for how it made you feel. May I ask that from at least two of you? Christina, because I saw you say that. Can you tell us how the exercise made you feel? Christina?
If Christina could raise her hand in the little reactions tab, that way I can find you. There's so many folks on here that I need.
Sorry. Okay. It's just, I see her right here. Christina, can you say just how the exercise made you feel? Oh dear. That's okay.
Ask to come off of mute as well. That's a little helpful too.
Okay, you have to unmute.
Mm-hmm. I don't.
You know what? I'll go to somebody else. Is that okay? I'm sorry, Christina. How about Claudette? Are you willing to say how you felt?
Oh, here, let's unmute Claudette. I can see Claudette.
Okay.
I see Christina.
Yes, I just felt more and more relaxed, and everything was so much bigger around me. It was just I felt like if I was in a meditative state, because I meditate every day, and I just spontaneously went into a meditative state with long breaths.
Perfect. And that's really the trick. It gets you very quickly in things that sometimes take years. It's sort of magic that way. Sabine, are you willing to say what you felt? Sabine, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and
Can you unmute yourself?
Let's see here. 1 second. Sabine, I just asked you to unmute yourself if you want to accept that. There we go.
Okay.
So sorry. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but how did the exercise make you feel?
It made me feel very relaxed and relieved because it was a very stressful day, and it made me feel really light and easy. And
Excellent. I wasn't even going to ask anybody because it's not one of those where you're being asked what you felt, but perfect. Now we're going to do the famous garden, the garden that I just talked about. The garden is an exercise that is for any human being. When you need a little place to go rest, to have safety. But for pregnant women, I especially want them to develop it so that they imagine the birth being at the garden. Some women can do it all the time. Others, I see them the next week. Oh no, I couldn't practice. I go, don't worry. Let's just do it again. So you don't worry if somebody does it a lot or not. We're going to use the garden for several different, let's just do it. And then I will prompt you in different directions. Okay. And this, if anybody at the end is generous enough to tell us if they want to share, it would be lovely. Okay. Here goes the secret garden. Close your eyes. Breathe out slowly 3 times, counting from 3 to 1, seeing the numbers. Imagine you are standing in front of a circular walled garden. Walk around the walls till you find the gate. Notice what the gate looks like, what's the height, what is it made out of, and then find a key. See where you find the key, because it's a private garden for you. Walk into the garden after you've unlocked the gate. Breathe out. What does it look like? Are there smells? Are there sounds? Walk a teeny bit deeper into the garden and look around, see if it's the way you like it or if it needs a little tending. Is it too wild, too dry, not enough color, too much color? And so change if there is something that you would like to change. If not, enjoy it. And you're going to walk even deeper towards the center of the garden. You're going to find a beautiful, strong tree that offers shade. If you didn't have a tree, put one in. Sit in its shade or in the sun if that pleases you more. And start to take in the nature around you. Breathe the oxygen, feel the air. Take in the nourishment from the earth, from the grass. Let the colors of the flowers speak to you. And start to get in harmony, in tandem with the nature around you. When you feel rested or rejuvenated, breathe out. If you are pregnant, take your eyes in to visit your baby and ask your baby if there is anything they would want in the garden that isn't there, and if they have another message for you. If you are wanting to get pregnant, invite the soul into the garden, or it can stay out of the garden, but ask the same question. Is there anything it would like in the garden that isn't there? And if so, you put it in. And both of you ask the baby, the soul, if it wants you to come in and communicate often. For those of you that are not pregnant, not planning to get pregnant, two things. You can also talk to someone you wish, someone that you may have unfinished business, or you'd like to tell them of your love for them. So you may do that. Just invite them into the garden, or see if there's a little animal, bird, squirrel, or even a flower that all of a sudden becomes more prominent. And ask that being what message it has for you, what it wants you to know today. When you have heard, breathe out, walk back to the gate, keeping that message deep in your heart, and close the gate behind you, knowing you can always come here when you need to, and then breathe out and open your eyes. Okay. Oh boy. I see that we're not going to have too much time for questions, but I do need to hear from at least two of you, please, please, please. Would anybody that is willing to share what they saw in the garden, if anybody talked to them, could you raise your hand? Oh, I see somebody. Kira.
Kira, I'll go ahead and ask you to unmute yourself, Kira.
Okay, perfect. Kira, where are
Thank you. Hi, everybody. So I do feel like sharing my voice only today. And sorry in advance if my English could sound a bit messy, but I'm trying. So it was very, very nourishing. I love that word. I was so much resonating with that. So I know some imagination techniques from my art therapy course, or I don't know, I went to university, I studied it. Yeah, and what I found very interesting, so I try to put some aspects in here. So I will definitely forget some, but I will keep them with me. So the first thing I noticed was I didn't think about the key at all until you mentioned it, and that's very, very interesting for me. Also, I had some pictures of the garden, but they were a bit so not that clear and darker, but I could really imagine the tree. So it's like I've got some work to do to really nourish myself, to be able to set clear borders.
What message did the
boundaries.
tree?
It felt like there's some very, very beautiful, peacefully, I don't know, thing coming. And I felt in that new thought of getting pregnant, which is not that long working inside of me. And it was, I don't know, very kind of overwhelming. So I'm running out of words now.
That's okay.
But there are some aspects, and I'm really happy to share them. So I'm sorry if I'm talking very slow. Hopefully you could follow. So I'm really happy to be here, just to be with all these beautiful women. It feels so good.
Can I hear from one more? Just the reason push. Who is saying yes?
No, I was saying yes. I thought you had another question. Sorry.
No.
Mute myself, and I'm going to stop saying sorry. So
no, that's I say sorry all the time. Sorry. For
yes.
Don't worry. Anybody else? I might pick on Marina because I know Marina. Where's my Marina from my class? Or who would anybody like to say what message they got, please, or what they saw? Aha, may I pick on you? Oh, good, Barbara. Perfect.
Go ahead and unmute you, Barbara. There we go.
Well, I'm a firm believer in visualization. I'm a firm believer because I do prenatal bonding BA, and encouraging the mothers just to talk about their experience with their babies. And what it does each time that I hear these stories, it's a feeling. In the garden, my mother loved flowers. I hated it when I was a kid. Had to pick weeds, hated doing the garden, all right? Now I can't live without flowers around. So it brought me back to my mother and the beauty of wanting to have color and green and flowers all around me, which is helping the oxytocin flow.
Wonderful. Did you hear a message in any way, shape, or form?
She's happy with the work that I'm doing.
Yay, good. Perfect, perfect. One more, and then I think I have to stop so there's room for questions. Karen. Oh my goodness.
Hey, Karen Milton.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to get my hand up for a while there. Yeah, my garden was absolutely gorgeous. I loved it. And the message I got was a surprise visit from my dad, who actually passed a very, very long time ago. And he came in and said, "I'm really proud of you." And I cried. And he said, "I can't even tell you how much I love you." And my dad was not a demonstrative person. He never spoke any words like that, but it was just really moving.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Wendy, I'm going to let you do this call because there's two people with their hands up, but then I don't know about room for questions. So
there were some questions that came in through the chat. I'd love to ask those. And then I see Judith, and I see that other hand up there. So hopefully we'll get to those. Otherwise, Claudia, if it's okay with you, maybe we can put your email into the chat and folks can share personally, or if those two want to put their, you know, what they saw in the chat as well. Okay. But
so I have to share the screen again, right? Share screen, sorry. I'm here. Uh-oh. Sorry, how do I do this? Okay. Hold on. All right, this is my contact information. Even though I teach out of the School of Images, my website gives a clearer, more detailed description of the program, right, of the certificate program. If you go into the School of Images, so you know, there's I'm starting 2 new trainings, October 10th. Tuesdays, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. You only sign up for one. I'm trying to hit different time zones. We start with pregnancy. Long story, I can go into why we start with pregnancy, because there is another Dreambirth course that I do not teach called preconception, and it's not part of the training. You're allowed to come in and visit one of my classes if you want to check it out. Before you sign up, you also, the training is in 8 courses, 8 groupings, and you can come into my class, see if you like it, and then just sign up for whatever, 8 class group is going on, and then you can decide if you want to continue. So you do not have to commit to the training. And you don't even need to commit to the 8 class series until you come and visit one of my classes. If you do that, just email me. And that's it. And now please get me to what did you want to, what questions came into the chat?
Well, let's go ahead. We'll leave this up on the screen for just a second. I encourage folks to just take a quick snapshot with their phone. My colleague Stephanie will also drop this information into the chat for folks. So we'll go ahead and leave this up here. That was definitely a couple of the questions that were coming in. You know, how can we learn more about Dreambirth? What can we do? And I just want to say really quickly that you and your amazing, amazing staff have offered a discount course or a discount to the Dreambirth training. And so I really encourage folks to email me so that I can give off that link to everybody. And we'll go ahead and drop my email in the chat as well. And just a couple of other questions, and hopefully we'll have a few minutes or to get back to Odolan and Judith to share theirs, but you've made all these amazing imagery connections to your inner voice, you've made so many parallels to different art therapy methods. And I was wondering, and some other folks were wondering here, if you use art, maybe in some different modalities, drawing, painting, etc. You also have this background in dance, in addition to just talking and imagining.
Well, okay. I do body work, right? I do artwork separately. So I don't per se, although sometimes people will do a painting of what they saw. But I find that this modality, even just as we did it now, can be quite deep, right? So no, I really mainly use imagery. That's not true. I also use trapped emotions. I use anything that I have seen really work, especially when someone is going off into labor. And of course, when I do see people personally, I also do the body work, but I don't per se do artwork, although sometimes people will paint what they saw. Does that answer the question?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
One more question. You teased this book that's coming out in 2024. Are these exercises going to be in your book?
Well, okay. Catherine's book, right, has that. Where's my picture? Why aren't I showing?
Yeah, if you want to unshare your screen, that way we can come back.
Yeah, I think we can. Did everybody take a picture of this? I think we can unshare.
Yes, and we also put it into the chat for folks. So go ahead and share your screen.
I'll stop there. Okay. So what was the question? What was I about to answer?
If the exercises will be in your book.
Thank you. There'll be a lot of the exercises. I basically, any exercise that I mention in the story of how we got the information is included in the book. Most of the exercises are from this book, but 10, 20 are not. 10 have never been published, but I give them in my course. And Catherine is looking them over before we can actually publish them because they're an oral tradition. And 1, 2, 3, 6 are in her 2 other books. So the exercises will be in the book. It's more complete, right, if you get Dreambirth, but a lot of the exercises will be in, I think there's about 40 exercises, or between 30 and 40 exercises included in the book.
Wonderful. Well, you'll have to share that with us so we can share out when your book is out.
Don't worry. And I'll bring cards to the October thing. When is it? In October?
So October 19th through the 22nd. Perfect.
Yeah, I'll be there.
And 23rd International Congress. We put the link into the chat as well.
We do. The book won't be ready by then, but all information on it will be there. Okay. Any more questions, or can we get to Judith and?
We are at the top of the hour. I know that we'll be sensitive to folks' time. So if you need to hop off, go ahead and hop off. Let's see if Judith or if Odolan want to raise their hand and share. And that's kind of how we'll end this. And we'll let folks go. But I don't see either of them on the call.
They left. Oh no.
That's all right. But thank you, Claudia, so much. I know that we didn't get to all of the questions, but if folks would love to write into Claudia, it looks like Elizabeth is raising her hand, and we'll let her answer in a moment. But if any folks want to get in touch with Claudia, truly, she is just the most wonderful human being on this planet. One of them.
Thank you.
But we'll go ahead and let Elizabeth pop off mute so that she can unmute herself. There we go. I can't hear you, my dear.
I just want to say that Odeon wants to talk. His hand is now up and he's been wanting to talk. I see him. That's all.
Yes, I see him now.
Good.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
Okay.
You're
Here we
here.
go.
Hi. Hi. So
I just wanted to share when I opened the door to the garden, there was only a lawn, no flowers, only a lawn. And when I went in, I became very quickly, very small, like an ant. And I have to look up to the grass blades. And then the word came, surrender.
and what happened?
That was my story. Yes.
That wonderful story. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Anybody else that did have their hand up? Did we disappear?
You know, I can't find Judith. It's hard. You guys all move around all over my screen.
I
So it's
know.
hard to find
Well,
you.
if they raise their hand, they should pop up into the front screen, right?
Yeah, Judith, if you're still here.
Hey, Judith.
Give just a second. Otherwise, have a wonderful Labor Day, everyone. If you have a 3-day weekend, we can go ahead and unmute ourselves and say thank you to Claudia as we all hop off and enjoy the rest of our day. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia.
Thank you, Claudia.
so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks,
All right.
everyone. Good to see you, Claudette, Laura, everyone.